So, from what I gleaned on Google last night, there's supposed to be 3 pieces to my speech. So the first one is about how I got here. The second one is about kind of growing beyond yourself. So I'm interpreting that as growing your business and learning about yourself. And the third one, I'm adding myself, and I'm calling that surviving, because that's a critical piece of doing this important job. I grew up really poor. I mean, like, vacation was a mattress in the back of a pickup truck with a cab on top going to a campground somewhere poor, and I didn't want to do that anymore in my life. And I went to college, and then I got a really good job. Some people would say I was approaching the top of my field, and then I had my moment. If you read the research, people say that it's not how much money you make or what you acquire. It's about feeling like your life is moving towards something meaningful, which makes you feel satisfied. And I was unsatisfied. And my unsatisfied moment happened in the bathroom of a 4 Points hotel in New Jersey when I got out of the shower bleary-eyed from getting in on a flight that had been, hours later than it was supposed to, and realizing that I had just shampooed my hair with the lotion, and I didn't have time to fix it before I had to go to a meeting, and I'm looking in the mirror and I'm saying, what the fuck am I doing here? I have 4 kids at home, 2 dogs, 2 cats, and a husband, and I'm here to help these people with what again? And that was it. Like, something inside me just snapped. I did my meeting, I got on the plane, and I went home and I resigned. In the background, there was this puzzle kind of happening around me. Like, I was seeing all this stuff about the environment and trends that were going on, and looking at people. I mean, I traveled a lot with my old job, and I noticed what people looked like in places, and people in the United States aren't healthy in general. We live in a bubble here. We're lucky, right? And looking at the way trajectories were going, and I happen to be a fish nerd, and so I'm starting to put this together and thinking that, you know what? I'm going to change the world with sustainable fish, right? That's a pretty big, audacious, hairy goal. And, I kept thinking to myself something I read that Elon Musk said, which is, if something's important to you, even if all logic says you shouldn't do it, you should do it anyways. So I thought, why the hell not? Someone's going to take a run at this, it might as well be me. I was on my way. So that goes into phase 2, kind of building a team. So, someone had the foresight, I think it was you, to say that you need to know yourself on this journey. And I knew myself that I knew I couldn't do this by myself. I had been playing with the idea of being an entrepreneur while I had a real job for a long time, and it just never went anywhere. It's because you got to commit. And I realized that for me to commit with myself, I needed a co-founder, someone who was here, that could look at me, who could poke me, who could make me accountable, and we could kind of build this thing together and keep going together. And I was so lucky to find my co-founder. She's brilliant, and she's nice. No one's ever accused me of being nice. So she's kind of like my perfect foil when it comes to things. And together we set off on this little journey. And the next thing people say is, if you want to change the world, you got to get a lot of people changing it with you. And we realized that, okay, we can do this. There are people out there who really love to cook. Let's hire someone to do that for us. Check, right? Then I could go back to doing my fish nerding. That was easy. The harder one for me was hiring my head of finance and everything else. Probably the smartest hire that I've made in my life besides my co-founder. And it was hard to let go of because that's something I'm supposed to be good at, right? And I am, but I just don't love it the way I love fish nerding, right? Like tomorrow at this time, I'm going to be standing on a fish farm in Ensenada watching broodstock. That gets me going. I realize that's not a shared passion for a lot of people in the world. But then, I started to build this team around me, and then something kind of scary happened. It stopped and made me go, right? Like someone said to me, kind of in an offhanded way, well, you're my fearless leader. Whatever you need me to do, I'll do it. And I'm like, holy shit. I've not only convinced people to leave good jobs and join me on this, but they're looking to me for actual direction and vision, right? Part of being a good entrepreneur and growing beyond yourself is realizing what you bring to the table and what you need other people to bring to the table. And for me, and I think for a lot of the people in here who've grown their businesses to that point, it's about bringing the vision and being a director of the team and all of these resources. And then a crazy thing happens. once you start actually doing it, people in karma like come out of the woodwork to help you. Like, I've gotten help from people that like I was like a gawking fan of, you know, like they'd call me and be like, hey, I see what you're doing and I want you to meet this person, or yeah, you know, you might need this. It just happens, right? Or you have a really bad day and you're like, oh my God, you know, and you're trying to like put on leader face for your team, you know, and in the inside you're like dying. Like, you know, there's a lot of guilt involved in being an entrepreneur, especially when you have a family and you leave a good job and you're like, my whole entire family is sacrificing for my dream right now. You know, it's a lot to kind of wrestle with. But then you'll get an email from a customer, right? Like a fan letter. I sell frozen fish, for God's sake. Someone writes letters on my website how much they love our product and how it's changing their lives, and they're not even related to me. That's pretty cool. For me, I know to build the company that I want to build, I need a lot of people on board. And it's not always easy to bring in the right talent. And like folks here have talked already about how hard it is to find the right gel and find the right mesh. And for me, that meant putting on my big girl pants a couple of times and like paying people what they're worth to come and join my vision. You know, I want my vision to be their vision and their dream, and it is a little bit, but not like it will ever be for me. And so, you know, it's sometimes tough to watch someone take a pretty cool vacation and you're like, shit, I don't know if I can afford to replace the alternator in my minivan that I drive my kids to school in. You know, it's finding ways to kind of realize that what I'm doing is important. I'm going to change the world. I actually believe that. I'm going to have impact. And then you go home from work and you like, you know, you're depressed or you're having a bad day and your husband like says something to you like, I don't want to hear it, you're living the dream, and you want to punch him in the throat. Like, honest to God, like you're supposed to be my safe place. I don't want to hear from you that you need me to be happy and committed all the time, you know? So I drink some more wine and go upstairs. But you know, I really believe that I'm going to change the world. There's a lot of things going for us, and we're starting to get some traction. And who knows? Maybe I will, maybe I won't. But I've already made my impact. I have 4 kids. And when I get papers from school where they ask them, what do you want to be when you grow up? And they write on there, an entrepreneur. That makes me really proud. So I don't know if I'm going to change the world with my business, but I know I've already changed it in 4 small ways. And when I talk to them about their future, it's not about what are you going to be when you grow up. It's about how are you going to be it? What kind of person are you going to be? What kind of network do you need to build? What problem do you want to solve? And that, to me, is a real win.